The morning sun cast long shadows across Buckingham Palace as whispers echoed through the marble corridors. Staff members moved with unusual urgency, their faces bearing the weight of momentous news. Queen Elizabeth II had passed away peacefully in her sleep at Balmoral Castle, marking the end of an era that had spanned 7 decades. In her elegant London townhouse, Camilla Parker Bowles received the call she had been expecting yet dreading. As the wife of the now King Charles III, she understood that her moment had finally arrived. For years, she had stood in the shadows, enduring public criticism and media scrutiny while patiently waiting for this day. The phone trembled slightly in her manicured hands as she absorbed the reality that she would soon become queen consort. Charles had been preparing for this moment his entire life. At 73, he was the oldest person ever to ascend to the British throne. The weight of responsibility settled on his shoulders like a heavy ceremonial robe as he began making the necessary arrangements. His first priority was ensuring a smooth transition, but deep in his heart, he harbored concerns about public acceptance of Camilla in her new role. Meanwhile, at Adelaide Cottage in Windsor, Catherine, Princess of Wales, was helping her children with their morning routines when the call came through. Prince William's face grew solemn as he listened to his father's voice on the other end of the line. The children sensed the gravity of the moment, their usual chatter replaced by an unusual quiet as their parents exchanged meaningful glances. Catherine had always possessed an innate understanding of royal protocol and public relations. Unlike many who married into the royal family, she had embraced her role with genuine enthusiasm and natural grace. Her university education in art history had taught her to appreciate tradition while understanding the need for evolution. She recognized immediately that this transition period would be crucial for the monarchy's future. The British public had watched Catherine's journey from a middle-class university student to a beloved royal figure. Her authentic warmth and dedication to charitable causes had won hearts across the Commonwealth. She had mastered the delicate balance of being relatable yet regal, modern yet respectful of tradition. The contrast with Camilla's more challenging path to acceptance was stark and undeniable. As news of the Queen's passing spread globally, the media machine kicked into overdrive. Television networks interrupted regular programming, newspapers prepared special editions, and social media platforms buzzed with tributes and speculation about the future. The world watched as the United Kingdom entered a period of official mourning, but beneath the surface, a subtle power struggle was already beginning to take shape. Camilla understood the challenges ahead better than most. Her relationship with Charles had been the subject of intense scrutiny for decades. From their early romance in the 1970s to their secret affair during his marriage to Princess Diana, every chapter of their love story had been dissected by the press. The public had slowly warmed to her over the years, but she knew that earning the crown would require more than just time and patience. The constitutional process was clear and unchangeable. Charles would become king, and Camilla would automatically become queen consort. However, the real crown that mattered was the one bestowed by public opinion and historical legacy. This invisible crown could not be inherited or legally claimed. It had to be earned through actions, dedication, and the ability to capture the public's imagination and respect. Catherine recognized this opportunity immediately. While Camilla focused on her official duties and ceremonial responsibilities, Catherine began positioning herself as the relatable face of the modern monarchy. She understood that in the age of social media and instant global communication, perception often mattered more than protocol. Her genuine interactions with the public, her hands-on approach to charitable work, and her visible dedication to her family created a powerful narrative. The first public appearances following the Queen's death were telling. Camilla, dressed in appropriate black mourning attire, maintained her composure with dignity befitting her new status. She stood beside Charles during official ceremonies, fulfilling her role exactly as protocol demanded. Her years of preparation showed in her careful attention to royal etiquette and her respectful demeanor during solemn occasions. Catherine, however, brought something different to her public engagements. When she visited the floral tributes left by mourning citizens, she knelt down to children's eye level, listened intently to elderly well-wishers, and displayed genuine emotion that resonated deeply with the public. Her actions felt spontaneous and heartfelt rather than rehearsed, creating moments that photographers captured and the world remembered. The media coverage began to reveal subtle shifts in public sentiment. While Camilla received respectful coverage befitting her new status, Catherine's appearances generated more enthusiastic responses from both traditional media and social platforms. Royal watchers and constitutional experts began noting the different ways the two women approached their roles, though few dared to explicitly compare them during such a sensitive time. Behind palace walls, advisors and courtiers began to recognize the emerging dynamics. Camilla's supporters emphasized her loyalty to Charles and her gradual acceptance by the public over many years. They pointed to her dignified handling of past controversies and her genuine commitment to charitable causes. Her advocates argued that she deserved recognition for her patience and dedication during the long years of waiting. Catherine's growing influence became evident in less obvious ways. Younger staff members gravitated toward her approachable leadership style. International dignitaries sought her out at diplomatic events, recognizing her as a bridge between traditional royal protocols and contemporary global leadership. Her ability to connect with diverse audiences made her an invaluable asset for the monarchy's future relevance. The first major test came during the planning of King Charles's coronation ceremony. This ancient ritual would formally crown both the new king and queen consort, following traditions that stretched back over 1,000 years. Every detail mattered, from the choice of music to the guest list, from the ceremonial regalia to the television coverage that would beam the event to billions worldwide. Camilla approached the coronation preparations with meticulous attention to historical precedent. She studied previous ceremonies, consulted with protocol experts, and ensured that every aspect of her participation honored royal traditions. Her focus remained on supporting Charles and fulfilling her constitutional role with appropriate dignity and respect for the institution they now represented. Catherine's involvement in the coronation preparations revealed her strategic thinking and modern sensibilities. While respecting traditional elements, she advocated for touches that would make the ceremony more accessible to contemporary audiences. Her suggestions for incorporating diverse voices, highlighting charitable organizations, and creating opportunities for public participation demonstrated her understanding of the monarchy's need to evolve with changing times. The contrast in their approaches became a metaphor for the broader question facing the British monarchy. Should the institution focus primarily on preserving ancient traditions and maintaining ceremonial dignity? Or should it embrace change, prioritize public engagement, and adapt to modern expectations while retaining its essential character? Public opinion polls conducted during this transition period provided fascinating insights into the nation's mood. While both women received generally positive ratings, the demographic breakdowns revealed significant differences. Older respondents showed greater support for Camilla, appreciating her traditional approach and her loyalty to established protocols. Younger participants gravitated toward Catherine, admiring her relatability and her apparent comfort with contemporary challenges. International observers also began taking notice of the evolving royal dynamics. Commonwealth nations, many of which were questioning their continued ties to the British monarchy, watched carefully to see which direction the institution would take under new leadership. The choice between traditional authority and modern accessibility would influence relationships with countries whose populations increasingly valued democratic participation and cultural authenticity. As the coronation date approached, both women intensified their preparations, though their methods differed significantly. Camilla focused on private coaching sessions with protocol experts, studying historical documents, and ensuring she understood every nuance of the ancient ceremony. Her preparation was thorough, respectful, and designed to avoid any mistakes that might embarrass the institution or her husband. Catherine's preparation included similar attention to ceremonial details, but she also spent time engaging with diverse community groups, understanding public expectations, and thinking about how the coronation could serve as a platform for highlighting issues important to modern Britain. Her approach suggested someone thinking beyond the ceremony itself to its lasting impact on the monarchy's relationship with the people it served. The coronation ceremony at Westminster Abbey unfolded with magnificent pageantry that had taken months to orchestrate. 2,000 guests filled the ancient church, while millions more watched on television screens around the world. The ceremony represented both an ending and a beginning, marking the formal transition from one era of British monarchy to another. Camilla entered the abbey wearing a modified version of Queen Mary's crown, its diamonds catching the light from the stained glass windows above. Her burgundy velvet robe trailed behind her as she walked with measured steps down the aisle. Every movement had been rehearsed countless times. Every gesture calculated to convey dignity and respect for the 1,000-year-old traditions she was now part of. The moment represented the culmination of her long journey from controversial figure to queen consort. The Archbishop of Canterbury's words echoed through the abbey as he placed the crown upon her head. "Be thy head anointed with holy oil, as kings, priests, and prophets were anointed." The ancient ritual proceeded exactly as it had for centuries, connecting Camilla to a line of royal consorts stretching back through British history. In that moment, she achieved the official recognition she had sought for so long. But even as Camilla received her crown with appropriate solemnity, observers noticed something unexpected happening in another part of the abbey. Catherine sat in the front row with her children. But her presence seemed to draw the attention of both the congregation and the television cameras. Her sapphire blue dress, chosen to complement the ceremonial colors while remaining respectfully understated, somehow managed to capture the light and the imagination of viewers worldwide. The children's behavior during the lengthy ceremony became one of the most talked-about aspects of the entire event. Prince George, now 10 years old, sat with remarkable composure for someone his age. Princess Charlotte, 8, occasionally whispered questions to her mother, who answered with patient smiles that the cameras captured perfectly. Prince Louis, 5, provided moments of natural charm that humanized the formal proceedings without disrupting their dignity. Catherine's natural maternal instincts created some of the most memorable images of the coronation. When Prince Louis grew restless during the longer passages of the ceremony, she quietly engaged him with gentle gestures and whispered explanations. These unscripted moments of authentic parenting resonated deeply with viewers who saw in Catherine a relatable figure navigating the same challenges they faced in their own lives. The global television audience reached an estimated 400 million people, making it one of the most watched events in recent history. Social media platforms exploded with commentary, photographs, and video clips from the ceremony. Hashtags related to the coronation trended worldwide, but analysis of the online conversation revealed an interesting pattern. While posts about the official ceremony received respectful engagement, content featuring Catherine and her family generated significantly higher levels of enthusiastic sharing and positive commentary. The reception following the coronation provided another venue for observing the different ways the two women approached their royal roles. Camilla moved through the gathering with practiced grace, engaging in appropriate conversations with heads of state, religious leaders, and other dignitaries. Her interactions followed established protocols perfectly, demonstrating her thorough preparation and respect for diplomatic conventions. Catherine's approach to the reception revealed her intuitive understanding of soft diplomacy and cultural bridge building. She spent extended time with delegations from Commonwealth nations, particularly those with younger populations. Her conversations appeared more relaxed and genuine, often including laughter and animated discussions that suggested real connection rather than mere courtesy. International guests frequently requested photographs with her, and their social media posts afterward invariably expressed enthusiasm about their interactions. The weeks following the coronation marked the true beginning of what royal watchers began calling the modern monarchy test. Both women had official roles to fulfill, but the public's response to their different approaches would ultimately determine which vision of royal service would define the new era. Camilla threw herself into her queen consort duties with determination and thoroughness. She increased her patronage of literacy organizations, reflecting her long-standing passion for promoting reading and education. Her visits to schools, libraries, and adult learning centers demonstrated genuine commitment to causes she had supported for years. She approached these responsibilities with the seriousness they deserved, understanding that her charitable work was now part of her official legacy. Her public speaking improved markedly during this period. Where once she had seemed uncomfortable with large audiences, Camilla now delivered addresses with confidence and sincerity. Her speech at the National Literacy Trust's annual gala received particular praise for its heartfelt advocacy for reading programs in underserved communities. The transformation from reluctant public figure to confident royal patron was remarkable and deserved recognition. However, Catherine's parallel activities during the same period generated even greater public enthusiasm and media coverage. Her focus on early childhood development and mental health awareness struck a chord with contemporary concerns. Her visits to nurseries, family support centers, and mental health facilities consistently produced powerful moments of genuine connection with the people she met. The turning point came during Catherine's visit to a struggling community center in East London. The facility faced closure due to budget cuts, despite serving hundreds of local families with essential services including childcare, job training, and mental health support. Catherine's impromptu decision to spend an entire day at the center, participating in activities and listening to personal stories from service users, created a media sensation. The visit wasn't planned as a major event, but Catherine's authentic engagement with the community transformed it into something extraordinary. She helped serve lunch to elderly visitors, read stories to toddlers in the nursery, and sat in on a support group session for new mothers struggling with postpartum depression. The raw emotion and genuine connection displayed during these interactions created some of the most powerful images of royal engagement in recent memory. More importantly, Catherine's immediate response to the center's financial crisis demonstrated a new kind of royal leadership. Rather than simply expressing sympathy and moving on to the next engagement, she worked with her staff to coordinate emergency funding from various charitable sources. Within a week, the center had received enough donations to remain open for another year, and a long-term sustainability plan was being developed with support from royal patronages. This proactive approach to problem-solving marked a significant departure from traditional royal charity work. Instead of merely lending her name and presence to worthy causes, Catherine was actively using her platform to generate concrete solutions for urgent problems. The public response was overwhelmingly positive, with many observers noting that this represented exactly the kind of modern royal leadership they hoped to see. The contrast with more traditional approaches became a frequent topic of discussion in media coverage and public conversations. Camilla's work was consistently praised for its dignity and commitment, but Catherine's initiatives generated the kind of excitement and engagement that suggested a fundamental shift in public expectations for royal service. Behind the scenes, palace advisors found themselves navigating unprecedented territory. The traditional hierarchy was clear, but public sentiment was creating new dynamics that couldn't be ignored. Camilla held the senior constitutional position as queen consort, and protocol demanded that her precedence be respected in all official circumstances. However, public interest and media attention increasingly focused on Catherine's activities and initiatives. This shift became particularly evident during joint appearances. When both women attended the same events, photographers and television crews invariably gravitated toward Catherine. Her interactions with the public were more animated and photogenic, creating better content for news outlets and social media platforms. The disparity in coverage became so pronounced that palace communications staff had to carefully plan seating arrangements and walkabout routes to ensure balanced representation. The challenge intensified during the summer months when the royal family's activities traditionally increased with garden parties, regional visits, and outdoor events. Catherine's natural comfort in informal settings made her particularly effective during these engagements. Her willingness to engage in impromptu conversations, her genuine interest in people's stories, and her visible enjoyment of public interaction created a magnetic quality that drew crowds and cameras alike. One particularly telling moment occurred during the annual garden party at Buckingham Palace. Camilla hosted the event with appropriate grace, moving through the assembled guests and engaging in polite conversation with invited dignitaries and community leaders. Her performance was flawless and befitting her position as queen consort. Catherine's presence at the same event, however, created noticeably different energy. Groups of guests naturally gravitated toward her location in the garden, creating impromptu receiving lines wherever she paused. Children in attendance specifically sought her out, presenting her with handmade gifts and requesting selfie photographs with their families. The spontaneous nature of these interactions created more dynamic and emotionally resonant images than the formal presentations that characterized other royal encounters. The international implications of this shift in public attention became increasingly apparent as the summer progressed. Diplomatic events that included both women consistently generated more positive coverage when Catherine played a prominent role. Her ability to connect with international visitors, particularly those from younger democratic nations, enhanced Britain's soft power in ways that traditional royal diplomacy hadn't achieved in recent years. Commonwealth leaders visiting London began specifically requesting meetings with Catherine, recognizing her influence on public opinion in their own countries. Her social media presence, while carefully managed, reached demographics that traditional royal communications had struggled to engage. Young people throughout the Commonwealth nations showed more interest in the British monarchy when Catherine was prominently featured in coverage and events. This generational appeal became particularly significant as several Commonwealth nations actively debated their continued relationship with the British Crown. Catherine's modern approach to royal service provided these countries with a vision of monarchy that felt more compatible with contemporary democratic values. Her emphasis on social justice, environmental protection, and community empowerment resonated with populations that might otherwise view royal institutions as outdated or irrelevant. The autumn months brought unexpected challenges that would ultimately determine which woman truly claimed the crown of public affection and historical significance. A series of economic difficulties, social tensions, and international crises tested the monarchy's relevance and the leadership qualities of its key figures. The first major test came when severe flooding devastated communities across northern England. Traditional protocol would have required carefully planned royal visits with extensive security arrangements and formal presentations to local officials. The scale of the disaster, however, demanded immediate response and genuine engagement with suffering communities. Camilla fulfilled her official obligations perfectly, visiting evacuation centers and meeting with emergency services coordinators. Her expressions of sympathy were sincere, and her presence provided comfort to many affected residents. The Queen Consort understood the importance of royal visibility during national crises and carried out her duties with appropriate solemnity and genuine concern for those affected by the flooding. Catherine's response to the flooding crisis, however, revealed the full extent of her transformative approach to royal service. Instead of limiting herself to formal visits, she spent 3 consecutive days in the affected areas, staying in local accommodation and working alongside volunteers to provide practical assistance. Images of her serving hot meals in evacuation centers, helping elderly residents salvage personal belongings from damaged homes, and comforting children separated from their possessions created powerful connections with the public. More significantly, Catherine used her platform to coordinate an unprecedented charitable response. Working with her staff and personal contacts, she organized a network of celebrities, business leaders, and charitable organizations to provide immediate relief funding. The initiative raised over £10 million within the first week, money that went directly to affected families rather than through traditional charitable bureaucracies that might delay assistance. The contrast in approaches became a defining moment for both women. Camilla's traditional royal response earned respect and demonstrated the enduring value of constitutional monarchy during times of crisis. Catherine's innovative activism showed how royal influence could be leveraged to generate concrete solutions for urgent problems. Both approaches had merit, but public response clearly favored Catherine's hands-on leadership style. International observers took notice of these differences, particularly as Britain faced complex diplomatic challenges. The country's relationships with European neighbors remained strained following Brexit complications, while new trade partnerships required careful cultural navigation. Traditional royal diplomacy had always played a crucial role in maintaining international relationships, but the modern global environment demanded fresh approaches. Camilla's diplomatic work reflected years of experience and careful preparation. Her state dinner conversations with visiting heads of government were appropriately formal and diplomatically useful. She understood the importance of protocol in international relations and never risked causing offense through inappropriate comments or actions. Her approach provided stability and continuity that many international partners found reassuring during uncertain times. Catherine brought different strengths to diplomatic encounters. Her educational background and natural curiosity made her an engaging conversational partner for international visitors. More importantly, her ability to connect with diverse audiences helped bridge cultural gaps that traditional diplomacy sometimes struggled to address. Her visits to embassies for cultural celebrations, her participation in international development initiatives, and her advocacy for global education programs created new pathways for British soft power influence. The effectiveness of these different approaches became evident during a crucial Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting held in London that autumn. The gathering brought together leaders from nations grappling with questions about their continued relationships with the British Crown. Several countries had already begun processes to become republics, while others wavered between tradition and modernization. Camilla's role in the Commonwealth gathering was constitutionally appropriate and personally dignified. She hosted formal receptions, participated in ceremonial events, and engaged in careful conversations that respected both protocol and political sensitivities. Her presence represented continuity with royal traditions that had bound Commonwealth nations together for decades. Catherine's participation in Commonwealth events, however, energized younger delegates and created new enthusiasm for continued cooperation. Her focus on shared challenges like climate change, digital innovation, and youth empowerment provided fresh reasons for nations to maintain their relationships with Britain. Several Commonwealth leaders specifically mentioned Catherine's influence in their decisions to delay or reconsider Republican movements in their countries. The most telling moment came during an informal gathering of Commonwealth youth representatives. Camilla's scheduled appearance was brief and formal. appropriate for her constitutional position. Catherine's extended participation in youth discussions about the future of the Commonwealth created genuine excitement and engagement that surprised even experienced diplomats. Young people who had previously viewed the monarchy as an outdated institution expressed new interest in its potential for positive global leadership. These diplomatic successes coincided with growing recognition of Catherine's domestic influence. Opinion polls consistently showed her approval ratings exceeding those of any other royal family member, including King Charles himself. More significantly, her support crossed traditional demographic boundaries, appealing to both conservative voters who appreciated her dedication to family values and progressive voters who admired her advocacy for social justice. The economic challenges facing Britain during this period provided another arena for demonstrating different approaches to royal leadership. Rising unemployment, inflation concerns, and business failures created anxiety throughout the country. The monarchy's response to economic hardship would significantly influence public perceptions of its continued relevance. Camilla's economic initiatives focused on supporting traditional charitable organizations working with disadvantaged communities. Her patronage of job training programs, literacy campaigns, and small business support networks demonstrated genuine commitment to addressing economic inequality. These efforts built upon decades of charitable work and reflected her deep understanding of social problems facing British communities. Catherine's approach to economic challenges revealed her strategic thinking and modern sensibilities. Rather than simply supporting existing charitable programs, she advocated for systemic changes that might prevent future crises. Her proposals for expanded childcare support, mental health services, and educational opportunities addressed root causes of economic instability while providing immediate assistance to struggling families. Her most innovative initiative involved partnering with technology companies to create digital training programs for unemployed workers. The program combined traditional royal patronage with cutting-edge solutions, providing displaced workers with skills needed for emerging industries. The success of this initiative impressed business leaders and demonstrated how royal influence could catalyze economic development rather than merely responding to its failures. The winter months brought personal challenges that tested both women's resilience and public standing. Intense media scrutiny, family pressures, and the constant demands of public service created stress that occasionally showed in public appearances. How each woman handled these pressures revealed important aspects of their character and suitability for long-term royal leadership. Camilla faced renewed criticism from some quarters about her past relationship with Charles and its impact on the late Princess Diana. Despite years of public rehabilitation, certain segments of the population remained skeptical about her worthiness for the Queen Consort title. She handled these attacks with dignity and restraint, rarely responding directly to criticism while continuing to fulfill her duties with professional competence. Catherine encountered different but equally challenging pressures. Her popularity created unrealistic expectations for public appearances and charitable initiatives. Media coverage dissected every aspect of her clothing choices, parenting decisions, and public statements. The intensity of attention sometimes felt overwhelming, but she managed to maintain her authentic public persona while protecting her family's privacy. The different ways they handled pressure became another point of comparison for royal watchers. Camilla's stoic acceptance of criticism reflected traditional royal training and personal resilience developed over many difficult years. Catherine's more open approach to addressing challenges, including occasional acknowledgments of the difficulties of royal life, resonated with contemporary audiences who appreciated honesty about personal struggles. As the first year of Charles's reign drew to a close, it became clear that while Camilla had successfully claimed her constitutional crown as Queen Consort, Catherine had captured something far more valuable and lasting. Public opinion polls, media coverage analysis, and international diplomatic feedback all pointed to the same conclusion. Catherine had become the true face of the modern British monarchy. The transformation was remarkable, but not entirely surprising to those who had observed her evolution over more than a decade of royal service. From her early days as William's university girlfriend to her current status as one of the world's most influential women, Catherine had consistently demonstrated the qualities that modern audiences valued in their leaders: authenticity, empathy, innovation, and genuine commitment to improving others' lives. Camilla's achievements during this period were significant and deserved recognition. She had successfully transitioned from controversial figure to respected queen consort, fulfilling her constitutional duties with grace and dignity. Her charitable work made real differences in many lives, and her support for Charles during his adjustment to kingship was invaluable. History would remember her as someone who overcame tremendous obstacles to serve her country with honor. But Catherine's impact transcended traditional measures of royal success. She had redefined what it meant to be a royal in the 21st century, showing how ancient institutions could adapt to contemporary challenges while retaining their essential dignity and purpose. Her influence extended far beyond Britain's borders, inspiring young people worldwide and strengthening democratic values through her example of service-oriented leadership. The crown that truly mattered was not the physical symbol placed on Camilla's head during the coronation ceremony, nor the constitutional authority that came with her title. The crown that would determine the monarchy's future was the one bestowed by public affection, international respect, and historical significance. This invisible crown could not be inherited or officially granted. It had to be earned through consistent demonstration of the values that modern societies cherished most. In this crucial competition, Catherine had not merely participated, she had triumphed completely. Her approach to royal service had captured the public imagination, influenced international relations, and provided a blueprint for how traditional institutions could remain relevant in rapidly changing times. She had raised the crown of public approval triumphantly, not through calculated political maneuvering, but through authentic dedication to making positive differences in the world. The implications of this shift would influence the British monarchy for generations to come. Catherine's success demonstrated that modern royal leadership required more than ceremonial competence or adherence to traditional protocols. It demanded genuine engagement with contemporary challenges, innovative approaches to problem-solving, and the ability to inspire others through personal example. As the royal family looked toward the future, it was clear that Catherine would play a central role in shaping the monarchy's evolution. Her influence on her children's understanding of royal service, her impact on public expectations for royal behavior, and her model of engaged leadership would define how the institution developed in response to 21st century challenges. The story of two women competing for the crown had reached its conclusion, but the broader narrative of royal transformation was just beginning. Camilla would continue her important work as queen consort, providing stability and continuity during a period of significant change. Catherine would build upon her remarkable achievements, using her influence to address global challenges while preparing for her eventual role as queen. The true victory belonged not to either woman individually, but to the institution they both served. The monarchy had demonstrated its capacity for renewal and adaptation, ensuring its continued relevance for future generations. Through their different approaches to royal service, both Camilla and Catherine had contributed to a transformation that would strengthen the crown's connection to the people it represented. In the end, Catherine had not merely grasped the crown, she had redefined what it meant to wear it worthily in the modern world.